Welcome back to the Weekly Education Pulse. I'm Sammy.
I'm Tony. Each week we bring to you a global snapshot of the most important developments shaping international schools around the world.
Yeah, this week we're covering 4 stories that highlight how international education continues to globalise and diversify. We look at the rise of boarding schools in Thailand, curriculum strategy decisions in New Zealand, British school brand expansion into Turkey, and further consolidation across Europe.
These stories reflect some of the biggest themes we're tracking right now: alternative pathways for families, growing demand for international qualifications, and school groups expanding into both emerging and mature markets.
So let's just dive right in. And the first story this week looks at a growing trend in Thailand, where boarding schools are increasingly being positioned as a safer, more structured, and more affordable alternative to traditional boarding schools in the UK.
According to recent coverage, Thailand's international boarding schools are attracting both expatriate and internationally mobile families who want British-style education, but with lower costs, closer pastoral oversight, and a different lifestyle environment.
Yeah, what's particularly interesting is a comparison being drawn. UK boarding schools remain highly prestigious, but rising fees, travel costs, and concerns around distance and well-being are prompting families to explore alternatives. And Thailand, well, it's emerging as one of those preferable options.
These schools offer British curriculum, international qualifications, strong university pathways, full boarding provision, but at a significantly lower price point than the equivalent if you're sending your children over to the UK. So for some families, that is making a big difference.
Yeah, there's also a broader market implication here. Boarding, which has traditionally been associated with the UK and a small number of other countries like Switzerland, well, they're becoming part of a value proposition for international schools in Asia.
Schools in Thailand and the wider region, this presents an opportunity. For UK boarding schools, it adds another layer of competition in an already globalised education market. And our second story this week comes from New Zealand, where Marsden Collegiate School has announced the reintroduction of the Cambridge International Qualifications.
Yeah, the school confirmed it will bring Cambridge back alongside its existing academic offer, giving senior students additional flexibility in how they pursue international pathways. This follows a period where many schools globally have been reassessing the balance between national and international qualifications.
What stands out is that element of choice. Rather than committing to a single pathway, the schools are responding to increasingly diverse student aspirations, including global university access and internationally recognised assessment frameworks.
This also reflects a wider trend we're seeing internationally. Schools are becoming more pragmatic about curriculum strategy, and instead of ideological alignment with one system, the focus is shifting towards outcomes, portability, and most importantly, parental expectations.
For families, the return of Cambridge offers another route to global higher education. For the school, it reinforces its position in an increasingly competitive market where curriculum breadth can be a differentiator.
Yet more broadly, this signals that Cambridge International continues to play a significant role in markets where academic rigor, international recognition, and flexibility remain highly valued. And our third story this week takes us to Turkey, where Reigate Grammar School International has announced plans to open schools in the country, becoming the first British school brand to establish there.
We will see Reigate Grammar School International partner with Uyghur Schools Group, one of Turkey's largest education groups. The first campus is expected to open in Istanbul, marking a significant moment for the Turkish international schools market.
Yeah, what is notable here is the choice of market. Turkey has long had strong demand for international education, but relatively limited presence from established British school brands. So this partnership signals growing confidence in Turkey as a viable destination for premium international education.
It also reflects a wider trend we're seeing. British school brands are increasingly expanding through local partnerships, combining curriculum expertise and brand recognition with on-the-ground market knowledge and scale.
Support from the British Consulate in Istanbul and the UK's Department for Business and Trade highlights the role of education as part of broader international trade and soft power strategy.
For families in Turkey, it creates new options for British curriculum education delivered locally. And for other school groups, it underlines the continued global appetite for trusted British brands in emerging and underserved markets. Our fourth and final story this week comes from Europe, where Cognita has strengthened its presence in the region with the addition of Liceo Srolo in Spain.
Yeah, the school is actually well established in Valencia, offering a bilingual education with strong academic outcomes. Its addition reflects Cognita's continued strategy for acquiring high quality, locally rooted schools rather than launching new campuses from scratch.
What's interesting is the regional focus. Europe is often seen as a more mature and competitive international school market, but this move suggests there's still attractive opportunities for consolidation, particularly where schools have strong reputation and stable enrolment.
It also speaks to the value placed on bilingual and international education models within Europe itself. So it's not just for expat families, but increasingly for local families seeking those international pathways.
For Cognita, it strengthens its European footprint and portfolio diversity. For the wider sector, it reinforces the ongoing role of school groups in shaping the next phase of international education growth through selective strategic expansion. And that brings us to the end of this week's Weekly Education Pulse.
Yeah, from boarding models in Asia to curriculum shifts in New Zealand, new British brands entering Turkey, and school group expansion in Europe. This week's stories show how international education continues to adapt to changing demand and opportunity.
Always, thank you for listening and for sharing your thoughts and insights with us. If there's a development in your region that you think we should be watching, please do get in touch.
Yeah, we'll be back next week with another update from across the world. And until then, thanks for joining.